In 2007, Zeitgeist the movie was released. It spawned 2 sequels and introduced millions around the planet to the vision of Jacques Fresco and the concept of a resource-based economy. Hundreds of thousands of RBE proponents coalesced around the Venus Project and the Zeitgeist movement. It seemed that real dramatic change was within reach and that surely a new world would be birthed. A world of realized potential, sustainable practices, and an end to social and economic disparity and war. Then, the wave crashed, and receded. Groups dissolved, interest waned, and many who had become disillusioned with the promise of immediate change moved on. 10 years later, the Venus Project and the Zeitgeist movement have split. Chapters and groups have blossomed only to fade out of existence. Those new to the movement become frustrated with the lack of actualization, discontent to focus on mere education, and wait, idly patient, for something to happen. Sadly, recently, Jacques Fresco, founder of the Venus Project, passed away. Is the movement dead? Of course not, but things have changed. The original sense of excitement and accomplishment has worn off, and this has led to the relative silence of most of the resource-based economy supporters. Although the Venus Project and the Zeitgeist movement remain fairly active in their promotion of educational materials and in their distinct pursuits of media and mainstream exposure, most groups either never were able to climb out of or have since returned to obscurity. Still, despite the reality that it has become more difficult and downright impossible for many to connect in person with other activists, there remains hope. Truth be told, the wave of activism that swelled early on was always mostly online. I think this was ultimately the reason the majority of would-be activists slowly receded from the web forums and away from indeed the entire conversation. You simply cannot replace the desire to actively, physically participate in a process with a web document. Individuals have a desire to bear witness to the fruits of their labor and to experience results. It's unfortunate, but our species demands short-term realization of goals. Though in all likelihood they remain keenly interested in resource-based economies, we can't blame most for returning to more pressing and practicable interests. So, what's the solution? How can we retrieve and put to work the silent majority? I have 2 ideas. First, we inform these individuals of practical solutions, ways in which they can advance the cause and achieve short-term results for their communities and themselves. Tell them to write to representatives or to serve on bodies themselves, to engage in the sharing economy and in programs such as transition if possible, to talk to those that they know and to be patient and understanding, and don't instruct them on resource-based economies, rather ask them if they would look into resources like the Venus Project and the Zeitgeist movement, and to praise them for their skepticism, because critically thinking members are who we need. Also, to take care of themselves and to exercise their mind. The resource-based economy is about improving our species, and it all comes down to the individuals. We want to see you succeed and be healthy. Secondly, we need to pressure groups to work closely together to realize a resource-based economy. You don't have to be an official representative of any group to influence them. Imagine the gains that could be made if the Venus Project, the Zeitgeist movement, the sharing economy, transition, the Auravana Project, and other similar groups were well coordinated and in constant communication. Utilizing the strengths of all these groups to augment a grassroots movement is a tricky but achievable goal. If we can work within the current political system to begin synthesizing local community policy and law, we can facilitate the development of regional governments that can effectively challenge corporations. That being said, the goal doesn't have to be a resource-based economy explicitly, but rather a more progressive society that leans toward a transitional movement. This way we can develop alliances with other groups that share short-term goals, like the Progressive Movement and Justice Democrats, anarcho-socialists, and many mainstream Democrats in America. The point is, we can steer our societies toward a resource-based economy, instead of hoping for a more sudden emergence. I guess I'm saying that we need something that the resource-based economy movement as a whole has never truly developed, a coherent, cohesive sense of direction.